Hello friends of social media. I've had some questions about doing some more life cycles, and I got a question from a gentleman some days ago about doing a life cycle of the Sepia Dun, Leptophlebia marginata, or in Swedish it's called Vasslända, Stor Vasslända, but in English Sepia Dun, and it's a mayfly which hatches quite early in the spring, mostly in April to late June-ish, depending where in the world or where in Sweden you're where you at. Up here in the north we have them around mid-June, around 15th of June and a couple of weeks. But in the south of Sweden, mid-April, something like that. So, of course, let's start with the Nymph. So we're having Ahrex traditional Nymph, freshwater F61, size 14, and we have a brown thread, 16/0. This is a dark brown, matches the fly pretty good. And the Nymph has quite long what do you call them? Long tail, but we're using Coq De Leon. They have like 3 tail fibers normally, but we have Coq De Leon, so we take a couple of them and tie them in. I want them as long as the body of the Nymph. And for the body we will have Biot. You can either have mahogany brown or rusty brown, really doesn't matter. And we tie in these, they're a bit cupped on the one side. You want that towards you when you're tie in the Biot. That's because you want the segmentation to look nice. And I build up a little taper to have it look like a normal Nymph body, because they're just straight, they're a little bit tapered. And always use a bit of super glue, then you know this will hold up for a couple of fish, because Biots is a pretty sensitive fly tying material, and use a good hackle plier. This is the nice thing with having a rotation vise, because you can just do like this, and you see that the segmentation gets very nice when you tie it in with the cup towards you. And for the Wingcase we will also use a Biot, and you tie it in with this so you can fold it over. And for the Thorax I use Hare's air dub. It's pretty nice, it's dark brown, because it has kind of nice structure to the material. Like this. And then I want some legs to the fly, so I use some soft tackle, and I take a feather and do like this, and then I cut away, so you will have shaped like a V, like this. And you turn it upside down, hold the fibers and tie them in with one. Then you can see, okay, this looks nice, and you can just pull this a little bit, depending how long you want the legs. And you fold this over the wing case and tie it in. Cut it away. And we finish. Super, and I want a little bit of strength to this fly, so I will use some UV resin. This is the GULFF Thinman, and I also use a bodkin because it's easier to apply. And yeah, when you're happy with the resin, just burn it or flame it with the UV torch. Super! So there's the nymph. Perfect. So also when you fish like the dun, you can have this tied in to a little like 5 inches of 5-6 inches of a little bit tippet material, and have it below the dun. So now when we tie the nymph, we will tie the emerger, and for this one I'm having Ahrex FV31 size 16, because this has a little bit longer shank than a normal 16, so that's why I got down one size in the hook for this. And of course we use the same thread, just do a base like that and go back to the hook bend. And here I take a CDC feather, and like we did with the hen saddle, I cut a V shape into it, but I don't remove any fibers. But then I tie this in. You can hold it on place, two wraps, and then I just pull this. So you just have some fibers like a shock, and then you can hold the go front with a thread, and then just tie the CDC feather down and cut off what you don't want or need. And then you go back with your thread again, and yet again we use a biot, and the cup you tie in towards yourself or down to the hook, so the cup is up or towards yourself. And here again we just make a little tapered body. This is a fly that emerges quite close to the shoreline, so when fishing for this, try to be as close to the fish so you can get a nice presentation, probably on the same shore, on the same side where the fish are, because the fish can be pretty close to the shore. super glue again, and then we take advantage of the rotation vise, tie it in. And for the wing, this emerger, we will take 2 feathers of CDC. This is like a natural gray. I think that's a perfect color for a lot of flies because it's very natural and looking good. And we tie it in the middle like this with 2 turns, and then just pull this back like that and then tie it down. And for the thorax, we will again use the Hare's air dub. This is the color dark brown. Don't overdo it. Perfect. And then we'll shape a bubble. So you can do in 2 ways, like this, and pull it back and close it, or you can do like using a bodkin, and then you just do like this. You tie this down like this, and then you take your bodkin and go in and just pull these fibers back. Till you have a little bubble. Cut away this. And I want some nice legs to this fly as well. So here again I used the Hen Saddle. And like we did with the Nymph, we just cut this V shape. And now instead of going under, we take this up 2 turns, and then we just pull the fibers until we're satisfied with the length of the legs. Perfect. We form a little head, and then just we finish. So there's the emerger, and now let's tie the dun. Or for the dun we use a straight hook. This is the Ahrex Freshwater 501, size 14. So we go up 1 size again. The 14 is a perfect size. Sometimes they can also be up to a 12. But 14, I think it's perfect, because then you won't overdo the fly. It's better to have the fly a little bit smaller than too big, normally. And for the tail, normally the grown insect, the dun has 3 tail, but we will use the Coq De Leon again, because I think it's a very nice material for tail fibers. And now we won't have them as long as the body, close to, like that. We go back to the hook bend where we have the fibers. And yet again for the body we use the biot. You can either have goose biots or turkey biots in the color mahogany brown or rusty brown. I think that's the perfect color. And you build up a little taper here as well, like that. Don't forget the the super glue. I think you can have a really cool fishing with the duns when they hatch. I had some really nice fishing up here. I know a couple of years ago I went to this very, very nice mountain river, and it was a little bit rain, a little bit damp, and this fly was hatching as hell, and this fish just were standing there eating, and it was a kind of a bit of a struggle to catch it, but after some while I caught it, and it was very, very nice, very beautiful fish. So here again I will use 2 CDC feathers in the normal natural color, and I will tie them in. Now you have to, like, I think that's a good wing size, and then I just take them up and I will keep the feathers, so I have to try to catch them and do a little base around the feathers like this, so I will have the feathers stuck like this. And then I will do a dubbing loop like this, and then you just go through, oops, like that. And here again for the body we will have the hair, dark brown, and you will understand why I'm doing a dubbing loop for this. You can pick out some fibers that is too long, but then you have a small amount of this dubbing material in the loop, and then you spin it. You can take your body can just to pick out some fibers like that, because this kind of dubbing has a bit of longer hairs and fibers, which will be like perfect legs for the dun. So a couple of turns in the back and then in the front of the fly. You can see how buggy it is. It's perfect. And then just whip finish. And here you want you can pick out some fibers. So it's kind of perfect actually. You want a scissor with a little bit bend to it, because when you're shaping the wings you want a nice shape of them like that, and then I just cut it a little bit in the front here as well. As you see, this is a perfect dun imitation. It will lay very nice in the water, and it's a little bit buggy, so the fish loves it, and me as well, of course. So now when we're done with the dun, let's tie the spent spinner. Here again we use the freshwater 501 from Ahrex, size 14. And the same thread, the dark brown from Veevus. And for the tail, yet again we will use the Coq De Leon, which is a perfect tail material. And now we want them as long as the body, almost a little bit longer. I think that's perfect. Like that. And again, for the body, the same biot. I think it's just the bodies of both mayflies and like nymphs with biots. Oh, they get so nice. It's such a pleasant material because the flies, they look so nice and good. A little bit of taper to that body again, and super glue. Tie this down, and now for the wing material I will use one of my favorite materials. This is the sparkle merger yarn, and I take a quite long piece because it's easier to work with. And at first I just tie it in like this, and then I go this and back here, and yet again to the front here, and 8 until you're happy how they're placed. And then for the thorax I won't use the Hare's air dub again because I want a nicer thorax. So I use Superfine in the color Mahogany brown, which is a nice color for this. And try to shape a nice thorax like that, and then it's just to whip finish. Easier said than done, but like that. And here again I want this kind of scissor with a little bit bend to it, a curved blade, and then you just measure, okay, how long is the wings, like that. Perfect. And now you can shape the wings with a little rounder, perfect shape with this curved blade. Oh, this is just perfect. Okay, so now we're done. Okay people, so that was another episode of Life Cycle. This time it was a gentleman who wanted to see the Leptophlebia marginata, the Sepia Dun, so I made one. Of course, if you have more questions or maybe other life cycles you want me to do, please leave a comment, or if you like this, also leave a comment. And if you want to see something completely different, also leave a comment, and give this video a thumbs up because I appreciate it. And if you want to share it, please do, because that's a really nice appreciation from you and from me, of course. So hope you like this, and I will see you another time.